Hello everyone, so welcome to another video, a lesson under purposive communication, specifically on chapter 4. We have language register. So of course we need to have the definition, and how are we going to do that? We're going to compare it to genre, because most of the people, when they get to be introduced with this word, they are confused. So let's clear that one. So genre versus register, according to Lee 2001, whereas genre is associated more with the organization of culture, register is associated with the organization of situation. Okay, so take note of that. Register is understood as the context-specific variety of language. So we're going to talk about how language is being used on a certain context. Okay, that's how we will be able to identify register. Okay, and on this point, we have the field mode tenor framework, which is very important according to Lee. So what is field? Okay, field may be analyzed in terms of the social setting and the communicative purpose in which the text is produced. So we have the social setting. Okay, that's the key term for that. And another one to consider when it comes to register with this tenor. Tenor may be described in terms of the roles required of the writers and readers, including the cultural values shared by both. Okay, so we have here the role of the writers and readers, including their cultural values which were shared by both. So not only in the social setting, but on how the writers are really doing their job for us readers. And then we have this mode. Mode could be explained in light of the knowledge of other texts required of speakers or listeners and writers or readers as regards the genre, including the formal text features. So now we are going to talk about the formal text features when it comes to mode. So these three things are very important when it comes to register. If we get to point out the register of the situation, okay, we will have this ones, this field, tenor, and mode. So again, we have another definition to deepen our knowledge with language register. So when we say language register, this refers to the formality of language which one speaks, okay, and according to a certain author. So it is through register that you are able to determine the kind of lexicon or vocabulary to use, as well as the kind of structure to be used. So we have the formal register that is used in formal speaking and writing situations. Just like what we said a while ago under field, it focuses more in the social setting. So to whom this presentation or writing will be intended to, okay? So this language register will help us, okay? All right, so we have this one again. What is register in linguistics according to Linguists 2018? Register is defined as the way a speaker uses language differently in different circumstances. So these variations in informality, also called stylistic variation, are known as registers in linguistics. So you know, when we're going to ask, okay, what is the language register that we're going to use for this kind of project, okay, and then the answers will be formal, informal, some sort of things like that, but we're going to elaborate that later on. So we have the 5 distinct registers, okay, according to Nordquist 2018. So we have frozen. What do we mean by frozen? Frozen, this form is sometimes called the static register because it refers to historic language or communication that is intended to remain unchanged, like a constitution or prayer. So we have the different examples. We have the Bible, you know, it cannot be changed or developed. And then we have the United States Constitution, and then the others. So those are frozen type of register. And then we have formal. Okay, so formal, less rigid but still constrained. The formal register is used in professional, academic, or legal settings where communication is expected to be respectful, uninterrupted, and restrained. So here, slang is never used. And we have this consultative. Okay, so people use this register often in conversation when they are speaking with someone who has specialist knowledge or who is offering advice. So, for example, you ask for the consultation from your teacher. Okay, how are we going to do that? Okay, and how will the language register help us? Okay, so through that language register, we will be able to know how to really do a certain message or writing properly. So we have tone. Tone is often respectful. So here we use courtesy titles like doctor, ma'am, sir. Okay, slang is sometimes used, yes, but really minimal. People may also pause or interrupt one another. Okay, because of course you're asking for consultation for advice. Okay, so here another, we have casual. This is the register people use when they are with friends, close acquaintances, and co-workers and family. So it is probably the one you think of when you consider how you talk with other people, often in a group setting. Okay, so use of slang, contractions, and vernacular grammar is all common, and people may also of color language in some settings. Like for example, a birthday party, you could use a casual language register there. Okay, and then we have intimate. So linguists say this register is reserved for special occasions, usually between only two people and often in private. So intimate language may be something as simple as an inside joke between two college friends, or a word whispered in a lover's ear. So that one. Okay, now we have another definition from a certain source in which he or she is saying that language registers could also be classified as number 1, formal, number 2, informal, and number 3, neutral. So we now have first the formal language register. Of course, formal. Okay, this must be impersonal. It means that it must not be personal and is not written for a specific person. Okay, and most of the time it is made in public. Okay, for public. And then we have written without emotion. Okay, so we have the some rules. Okay, and when it comes to formal language register, okay, we have the first one: do not use contractions. So cannot instead of can't. Okay, so if we're going to prepare a writing in this kind of register, we must not abbreviate. Okay, next one, spell out numbers less than 100. Okay, it's very vital. And then write in third person point of view. So it's like the researcher is like this. Okay, so we're not going to have here you, because the second person point of view, and then we have the first person point of view. We have this I. Okay, there. And then next, avoid using too much passive voice, like for example, the dog or the bone was eaten by the dog. It must not be like that. It must be in active voice: the dog ate the bone. Though it is, of course, accepted in other kinds of languages. Okay, we thought that a passive voice is much better, but it's not when it comes to formal language register. And then we have the next one: avoid using slang, idioms, exaggeration, and cliches. Okay, so slang is common in informal writing. Yeah, so let's just use that for that, informal writing, but we're talking about formal writing. Slang is particular to a certain region or area. So we have examples. Okay. Okay, so we have OKAY. Yes. Okay. We must not use that for formal writing. We could use good. Okay. And then we must avoid abbreviations and acronyms. If, for example, we need to repeat the word, okay, in the next sentence of a certain paragraph, then let's just spell it out at the beginning so that the readers will be guided. And then do not start sentences with words like and, so, but, also. Okay, but if you can't really resist and you really need to do that, okay, you could make use of more formal words as counterpart for these words. Okay, so we have nevertheless for but, and then and additionally, okay, and then as a result of, so, okay, so things like that. And then of course always write in complete sentences. Okay, and then write longer, more complex sentences. Okay, so it means that we could just elaborate a certain concept, okay, in every way possible for this writing if we're going to use this formal language register. Okay, now we have this informal language register. Okay, so let's have examples of the kinds of writing in which we use informal language register. We could have personal emails, phone texts, short notes, friendly letters, blogs, diaries, and journals. And then we could include such things as slang and cliches, figurative language, because yes, it's deep, okay, and we could somewhat just not directly say what is factual, okay, so it could be implied. And then symbols and abbreviations, acronyms, incomplete sentences, because they are personal, short sentences, first person, second person, third person, we could use just any, paragraphs or no paragraphs at all, because of course we cannot really do that when it comes to phone text. Then jokes, personal opinions, extra punctuation, okay, passive and active voice, okay, compared to what we said a while ago about formal writing, that we need to use active voice. For informal writing, we could just use any. Okay, and then we have another one, neutral language register. This is used with non-emotional topics and information. Because of course, when we say formal, sometimes we need to involve emotions. Like for example, we are going to write a resignation letter, for example, so we're going to have there our emotions, okay, and then the reasons why we want to resign, okay. So sometimes we want to let the reader feel what we're feeling at that moment. So that's a formal writing. But for neutral language register, there is no emotions involved, so it is used to deliver facts, okay. It might include these kinds of reviews, okay. So neutral language register could be in form of articles, some letters, some essays, or technical writing. So the mere fact that it's just meant for delivering facts. Okay, so I think that's it for this language register. Thank you so much.